On a quiet morning in May 1940, France believed it was ready for war. The scars of the First World War still lingered, and this time, the nation was determined not to be caught unprepared. Along its eastern border stood one of the most powerful defensive systems ever built, the Maginot Line. Massive bunkers, hidden tunnels, heavy artillery, all designed to stop any German invasion. To many, it felt impossible to break. But what if the greatest defense ever built was about to be completely ignored? Before we go further, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because on this channel, we break down powerful moments in history in a way you've never experienced before. Behind those walls, French soldiers waited with confidence. Officers studied maps. Troops carried out drills. Everything felt controlled, predictable. But war doesn't always come the way you expect, and what was coming would shock the entire world. Across the border, Nazi Germany was preparing something entirely different. At the center of it all was Adolf Hitler, a man determined not just to win, but to rewrite history. Germany had learned from its past. It knew that attacking strong defenses head-on would lead to heavy losses. So instead of repeating the mistakes of the past, they chose to outthink them. The German plan was built on speed, surprise, and confusion. It would not be a slow war of trenches like before. It would be fast, relentless, overwhelming, a new kind of warfare that would later be known as Blitzkrieg. On May 10th, 1940, it began. German forces surged forward, not directly into France at first, but into Belgium and Netherlands. To the French and British, this looked exactly like what they had expected. It seemed like Germany was repeating its old strategy from the First World War. And so, they responded quickly, sending their strongest forces north to stop the advance. But that was exactly what Germany wanted, because while attention was focused on Belgium, the real invasion was happening somewhere else. Deep within the dense and winding terrain of the Ardennes Forest, an area believed to be nearly impossible for a large army to cross, German forces moved silently. The French had underestimated this region. They believed nature itself would protect them. But Germany saw an opportunity. Thousands of troops and armored tanks pushed through narrow paths, moving with speed and precision. It was a dangerous gamble. If discovered early, the entire operation could fail. But it wasn't discovered in time. And by the time the French realized what was happening, it was already too late. German forces broke through near Sedan with devastating force. Defenses collapsed quickly. Communication lines were cut. Orders became confused. Everything began to fall apart faster than anyone could respond. Then came the full force of Blitzkrieg. German aircraft dominated the skies, bombing key targets and spreading panic. Tanks advanced rapidly, bypassing strong defenses instead of attacking them directly. Infantry followed, securing ground and cutting off escape routes. It wasn't just an attack. It was a complete breakdown of the enemy's ability to fight back. Within days, German troops reached the French coast, trapping Allied forces in the north. British and French soldiers suddenly found themselves surrounded, with no clear way out. What followed was one of the most dramatic moments of the war, the evacuation of Dunkirk. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers gathered along the beaches, waiting, hoping. As German forces closed in, rescue began. Not just with warships, but with civilian boats, fishing vessels, small ships, anything that could float. They crossed the sea again and again under constant threat from enemy aircraft. Over 300,000 soldiers were evacuated. Saved, but forced to leave everything behind. While Dunkirk became a symbol of survival, it also marked a harsh reality. France was now exposed. German forces continued pushing forward. Cities fell one after another. Resistance weakened, not because of lack of courage, but because of speed, confusion, and overwhelming pressure. The French army, built for a different kind of war, struggled to adapt. Then came June 1940. German troops approached Paris. The city stood silent, facing an uncertain fate. Rather than risk total destruction, it was declared an open city. There was no major battle, no last stand, and so German forces entered Paris, a moment that shocked the world. Soon after, France surrendered. In just 6 weeks, one of Europe's most powerful nations had fallen. But the story didn't end there. France was divided. The north came under direct German control, while the south was governed by a regime that cooperated with Germany. Life changed overnight. Freedom was restricted. Fear spread. Yet, even in defeat, resistance began to rise quietly in the shadows. What made this invasion so shocking wasn't just the speed, but the lesson behind it. France had prepared for war, built defenses, trained soldiers, but it prepared for the past, not the future. Germany changed the rules. It used speed as a weapon, surprise as an advantage, and strategy as power. In just weeks, the balance of power in Europe shifted completely, and the world realized something terrifying. This war will be faster, more unpredictable, and far more devastating than anything before. If you found this story powerful, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because there are many more moments in history like this that change the world forever. Thank you.